everyone, to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and today we have a lot to discuss, especially in the NBA, because there's just been a lot of, I don't want to say drama, but some things going on between Carmelo Anthony and Phil Jackson, as well as Russell Westbrook meeting up again with Kevin Durant, and how that game went with that matchup with the Golden State Warriors and Oklahoma City Thunder, as well as an injury update on Rudy Gay of the Sacramento Kings, Anthony Davis, and how well he performed last night. And then I do also want to, later on in the episode, jump into college hoops. There's an Arizona star who has not played a game, and I'm going to tell you why he has yet to touch the floor, as well as give you guys an update on college hoops basketball. So there's a lot to get into today. We have a lot to cover, so I'm just going to get started right now. First off, we had the Raptors go to see the 76ers over there in Philadelphia. They played well. However, they did lose 89-94 to the Philadelphia 76ers. And the top performer there for the Raptors, of course, without a doubt, was DeMar DeRozan. He had 25 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. But, of course, it was not enough to hold off the 76ers. Joel Embiid showing out and doing really well for the 76ers. I know that if you are a Sixers fan, you are very, very happy to see how well he is doing this season. He finished the game 26 points, 9 rebounds, so just shy of a double-double. The Grizzlies went to go see the Washington Wizards and barely lost to them. The Grizzlies are 11-11 away, whereas the Washington Wizards are actually 18-6 at home. So they're very, very good at defending their home court. They defeated the Grizzlies 101-104. Marc Gasol of the Grizzlies had 28 points, 2 rebounds, and 7 assists. So, if your main center is not up there with the rebounds, then your team's just not going to do well in that game, especially if your main guy is not snagging those rebounds both offensively nor on the defensive end. It's going to be, surprisingly, they were only lost by 3 points, yes, but like I said, it's going to be a difficult game to win. John Wall of the Washington Wizards, 25 points, 2 rebounds, and 13 assists to snag that double-double for himself. The Trailblazers went to go visit the Charlotte Hornets, lost to them 85-107. So Damian and his Trailblazers really need to get it together. They are 7-17 away. Kemba Walker of the Charlotte Hornets, he recorded 23 points for his squad, just 2 rebounds and 5 assists. The Knicks finally were able to pull away with a win last night, 117-106, defeating the Celtics in Boston. Actually, Derrick Rose, he finally got it together after having kind of like a shaky last 2 weeks as far as what's going on with him. He recorded 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics had 39 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. And real quickly, just a side note when it comes to another star player, Carmelo Anthony, with an even more legendary overseer in Phil Jackson. Now, Phil Jackson and Carmelo did have a meeting earlier this week, and where Phil Jackson did ask Carmelo, basically, does he want to stay in New York? And I rightfully so, Carmelo was a little bit offended by that question, because he has constantly over and over has made it clear he feels his loyalty to the New York Knicks and saying that he wants to stay there. So there has been some speculation on whether or not what's going to happen with that duo. And if you guys remember back in the beginning of the season, they both were very excited to be working together. I know Carmelo was excited to be working with someone who could help lead him to perhaps deep in the playoffs. I don't think that, realistically, were they going to get to the finals game? I don't believe so. That's just my opinion. But Carmelo, he did like the prospect of working for Phil Jackson and being led by his guidance and his expertise and his experience and getting not only into the playoffs, but deep into the playoffs and winning championship games. And then Phil Jackson on the other side was looking forward to working with an all-star and a man in Carmelo Anthony, who he believed at that time was still a great player in the NBA. And so it's kind of sad to see how that's kind of changed as the season has gone on, and seeing that conflict, and whether or not it's Carmelo's fault, whether or not it's Phil Jackson's fault, that marriage seems to be a little bit shaky right now. But again, the Knicks, they did defeat the Celtics in Boston 117-106. Now, the Orlando Magic went to go visit the Pelicans and actually lost to them 98-118. Serge Ibaka for the Magic had 11 points, 7 rebounds, and just 2 assists. But Anthony Davis, back in the game, had 21 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 assists. So he had a nice double-double and actually sat out the fourth quarter. So that's one reason why I continually say that Anthony Davis is definitely moving up. He is definitely top 3 in my favorite players in the game right now. And like I said, if his body can just keep up with him, that would be awesome. Moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks, went to go visit our guy James Harden, and the Rockets losing to James 92-111. Giannis, he again, day in and day out, there's not a day that I can say anything bad about this young man. He had 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists, whereas our guy James Harden, vying for that MVP selection, has continually done great himself. Him and Russell Westbrook are 2 high contenders, especially here at the GSMC network. I know that we've been discussing them a lot, and they both seem to be equally favored here on the network. James, he had 38 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. And if you guys were able to watch some of the ending part of the game, he did give a lady who was celebrating her 100th birthday the game ball last night at the end of that game. So that's pretty special, you know, for especially if you're a Rockets fan, for you to go attend a Rockets game, them win, and to get the game ball. That's actually pretty dope. I thought that was cool. And then the Atlanta Hawks fell to the Detroit Pistons 95-118. Reggie Jackson of the Detroit Pistons posted a 26-point game. He added in 5 rebounds as well as 4 assists there. And then I'm going to actually take it first to my Kings before we jump into the Thunder and Warriors game. So the Indiana Pacers came to come visit the Kings here in Sacramento. The Kings have had a 7 home game stint. You're playing 7 games at home. We have supposedly home court advantage, but again, they fell to the Indiana Pacers. They're killing me, Smalls. 106-100. So it was a high-scoring game. It was a good game as far as that's concerned. DeMarcus, he had 25 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. So a triple-double. So looks like DeMarcus decided to actually come to play last night. You know how he is off and on. I've said it once. I've said it before. He's a great player. He's not a terrible player. He could potentially, and some of you may actually argue he's the best, in the league as far as his position is concerned. But I will continually argue until I see something different. It's when he decides to play. When he's deciding to come up and play as an adult and actually go to work, then yes. And I mean, I'm a Kings fan. You guys already know this. And I talk about that, and I'm a Kings fan forever. I'm going to be a Kings fan for forever. But then again, okay, so thank you, DeMarcus. Thank you for coming to play last night. But the story in that game was actually Rudy Gay, who fell. Now, he tripped on his own. I don't know if it's necessarily a trip. It was more of him just actually falling down. And as of right now, it looks like he may have suffered a torn Achilles tendon. So as of this time, he most likely will be out the rest of the season for the Kings, if not the rest of his career for the Kings, as far as that's concerned. He did, we all know, say in the beginning of the season, he made it very clear that this was what he wanted to be his last season with the Kings. He's, I believe, 30 years old. So he's not young. He's not potentially old, but he's coming up on that downhill slope of the prime as far as being in your prime is concerned, as far as Rudy Gay is concerned. So he most likely will exercise that player option, 14 mil, I believe that it is, because I don't know what other team is really, I don't know how valuable he will be now with being towards that downhill slope of the prime peak, as well as now suffering an injury that could potentially, if it truly is torn, he's going to need surgery. He's going to need to do a lot of rehab, a lot of rest. It's going to take a while to come back from an injury such as that. So I don't know. I don't know. It happened. Of course. If you're a Kings fan, you know how I feel right now. So with that, we're going to take it to a quick break. But when we come back from the break, I wanted to discuss the Oklahoma City Thunder coming to the Oracle to see the Golden State Warriors. What happened in that game? Some funny things happened. Some not so funny things happened. And also to discuss Russell and what he has continually posted as far as wanting to average a triple-double. Kevin Durant, how well he did in last night's game as well. So keep it locked here. You are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts basketball podcast. We have a lot more to jump into. College basketball as well. Arizona. There's just a lot going on. So keep it locked here. I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch, whatever it may be.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Golden State Media Concepts basketball podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and we are getting ready to wrap up at least this part of the episode, the NBA side of everything. I don't know if you guys, I like to do NBA first and wrap up with college hoops. I don't know. We'll switch up the flow. We'll see how it goes. But first off, I wanted to discuss, as we wrap up this segment. So the highly anticipated, I guess you could say another highly anticipated matchup was the Oklahoma City Thunder going to see the Golden State Warriors at the Oracle. Now, this is a big deal, I guess you could say, for quite a few reasons, because one, Russell and Kevin Durant, we all know how to deal with that breakup. They're still dealing with the breakup. They're both taking it pretty hard, I guess you could say. Now, rightfully so. So this is the thing. They both are doing phenomenally well. Actually, Kevin Durant's doing well. Russell Westbrook is doing phenomenally well as far as how they are getting over this breakup. Now, Russell last night, they did lose. So first off, let's get to that part. So the Oklahoma City Thunder lost to the Warriors 100-121. So not really close game at all as far as that's concerned. What really did it for the Warriors is that they really pulled it away in the third quarter, and that's what, helped push them into this momentum for the win at the end of the night. But in that game, there were a lot of little things to highlight that I think were quite interesting. One, like I said, was pretty funny. So first off, this was Russell Westbrook, he had 27 points, 15 rebounds, and 13 assists. So this was his 21st triple-double. Kevin Durant had 40 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists. So it's not like Russell is just getting on with the breakup and Kevin Durant is doing horribly without him. So this is actually Kevin Durant's 3rd career game with at least 40 points and 10 rebounds while taking less than 20 shots. So that alone is a pretty awesome stat to have. He's done it not just once, not just twice, but now 3 times, taking less than 20 shots. So I don't know. That's actually pretty dope to me, if you ask me. So Kevin Durant, like I said, and they were able to secure this win against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that was another thing. The Warriors are now 20-3 at home. So they are doing very, very well as far as defending the Oracle. But I wanted to also jump into some other things that happened in last night's game, some other things to highlight with Russell and things like that. So Russell, we have been discussing him as well as James Harden. Like I said earlier in the episode, they are kind of like the favorites right now, especially on the GSMC network, both on the basketball side as well as on our sports podcasts, to not only be high contenders for the MVP, but basically one of either James or Russell snagging that title at the end of the season. Now, Kevin Durant is also part of that big 3 that came out of Oklahoma City. So for those of you who don't know, 5 years ago, these 3 guys were on the same team. Russell's the last lone survivor as far as who has stuck with the Thunder. And I think that this year, and if you go back and listen to the sports podcast that we just posted today as well, you guys can hear my conversation with Anthony on this topic as well. Now, he's the kind of guy that this year is probably going to be the year that Russell, if he wants to match up with Oscar Robertson, with averaging a triple-double throughout the whole season, this is the year to do it. And basically, it's because if he decides that he's the kind of guy where he has decided he's going to put the team on his back this year. And luckily for them, they are now 25-19. So overall, 25-19. So they are doing well. They have more, wins in that column than losses. And he's being selfish right now, which you guys know I love Russell, so I don't mind him being selfish. But this whole thing but then you guys also know that I did say that I think that is what led to the downfall for him early in the postseason. Last season was that whole mentality of it's me versus everyone, including me versus my teammates, because I'm not going to pass you the ball even if you're open, because I think that I need to drive it to the hoop. Now, being aggressive is not a bad thing. It's not. Being an attacker, it's not. I love it. I love that kind of style of play. I love his mentality. You guys know this about me. You guys know how much I love Russell. But if this is the year that he needs to, if this is the record he is trying to achieve, then, and this is a milestone in his career that he's trying to achieve it, then this is the year to do it. Because, after this season, they're going to start hopefully placing some other guys that he can trust on the offensive end to help him out. So, and that he can actually trust as well, so that he can dish out the ball a little bit more, so that he doesn't have to feel like he has to be the only one scoring, rebounding, assisting, all that. Actually, he has he's about to average a quadruple double with how much he turns the ball over. But like I said, because he feels like the need to do every little thing on the court. So, and this has to be the year of the Russell, the year of the selfish Russell, if he wants to, like I said, hit that milestone. Because after this year, I do feel that the Thunder, who are going to need to place some other figures around him in order for him to free up so that everybody else could get involved and hopefully start winning games. Because it's nice that Russell has that 27, 15, and 13 last night, but then they also took the L. And they took it pretty hard. They lost by 21 points. So that's all I have to say about that. James is also doing very well. He had, He was not just shy, but he was shy of a triple-double last night again against the Bucks. He had 38 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. So, he's also doing very, very well in all of those stats as well. And so, but his team is winning. They beat the Bucks 92 to 111. And their record with the Rockets right now is 33-12, whereas the Thunder are 25-19. So that plays into it. So I don't think, honestly, that the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to go deep into the playoffs. Probably not farther than what they, if anything, farther than what they did last season. So we know that. We're okay with that. So Russell, just do your thing. That's all I got to say about that part. So, and then Kevin Durant, again, 40 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, another awesome stat for himself as far as that is concerned, because shooting less than 20 shots and you got 40 points. That's pretty, that's something to be highlighted as well. And if he's going to continue playing like that, and if they can get their chemistry really right, because now I feel like they're starting to get that chemistry bubbling. It's starting to get warm. They're starting to get warm. And if they can continue with this upward motion and heating up together, then the Warriors, of course, again, most likely, Warriors, Cavs. It's going Cavs, though. So keep it. And with that, I am actually going to take it to our last and final break. And when we come back, we're going to jump into college hoops. Let's take a look. There are some NBA matchups worth noting coming up tonight as well. We have the Phoenix Suns going to go visit the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland. The Mavericks are taking on the Miami Heat tonight, as well as the Wizards and the Knicks. We have the Nuggets and the Spurs, Timberwolves, and Clippers to round out the evening of games tonight. So that's going to be a lot of fun to discuss. Ben's got you guys' back on what happens with those games tomorrow morning. So keep it locked here. I'm going to take my last and final break of the day, and then we are going to jump into college hoops. So keep it locked here. You're listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Pauline, and we are getting to wrap up this episode of the podcast. But before we do, we have to, of course, discuss college hoops. And I wanted to also give you guys an update on a player from Arizona. So first off, let's just talk about last night's games. So Oklahoma went to go visit number 7 West Virginia, defeating number 7 West Virginia. Oklahoma's not even ranked right now. Defeating them 89-87. Javon Carter of West Virginia had a nice double-double, 23 points and 11 rebounds. He also recorded 6 assists. John Woodard of Oklahoma Sooners, he had 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. So, again, we're going to discuss this when we come back on Monday and Tuesday. But the rankings, when you get a loss like this, West Virginia, it really messes you up. Notre Dame, number 15, went to go see number 10, Florida State. They both are now 5-1 in the ACC. Florida State holding it down, barely beating Notre Dame 80-83. So that was a very nice game there. Jonathan Isaac of Florida State, he recorded 23 points. He had also 10 rebounds and 1 assist, whereas Matt Farrell of Notre Dame had 17 points, 7 assists, and 1 steal. So played out, I see right there. And then number 16, Virginia, went to go visit Boston College, tearing up Boston College. I'm sorry, but they did. 71-54. They did not they didn't show them any mercy, especially that first half. Virginia had 42 points just to Boston's 25, and then they both had 29 apiece in the second half, but it was already done for Boston College. Devon Hall of University of Virginia, he had 13 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists, where Connor Tava of Boston College, he had 12 points and 11 rebounds, but like I said, it just was not enough to get over that initial hump that Boston College put themselves at the bottom of, with only scoring 25 points to Virginia's 42 in the first half. Number 19, Florida State, I take that back. Number 19, Florida. I apologize. Went to go visit 24 South Carolina. South Carolina defeated them 57-53, doing really well in that second half to pull away with that win. Casey Hill of Florida, he had 11 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists. Cedarius Thornwell of South Carolina, he, however, had 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist in that win over Florida. So that's going to look really good for them if they're trying to, get a little bit bumped up as far as top 25 is concerned. Temple went to go see Cincinnati in the last game of the day. Cincinnati held on. They are currently ranked 20. They have a record of 6-0 in conference play, defeating Temple, like I said, 81-74. Shiz Alston Jr., he had 25 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists for Temple. But Troy Coupon, he had 18 points. Coupon, is it French? Not quite sure. 18 points. I just realized when I was saying that how ridiculous that sounded. Sorry about that, guys. So Cincinnati, Troy was a top performer. He had 18 points, 9 rebounds, so just 1 rebound shy of a double-double. But he also posted 7 assists, so he was doing a lot of everything, being a really, all-around guard for Cincinnati in that win. Then tonight, we have a few matchups as well. Maryland, number 25, they're 4-1 in the Big Ten. It's going to go visit Iowa tonight, who is currently 3-3 in conference play. Clemson going to go take on number 12 Louisville. Clemson this year, and my boy Jaron, they're only 1-4 in ACC, whereas Louisville is 3-2. So hopefully, you guys know I favorite Jaron Blossom games, so hopefully he's going to have a good game tonight. California, our guys over at Cal, they're going to go see Oregon, and Oregon is ranked currently number 11. Number 14, Arizona, who I'm going to discuss a little bit more in just a few minutes. They're going to take on USC tonight in Southern California. Then we also have, Arizona State. So it's kind of funny because we have Arizona going to go see USC tonight, and then we have Arizona State visiting UCLA. So there's going to be some big games taking place in Southern California. If you guys are in Los Angeles, I suggest you guys drive there now to get to the game. It's currently only 9:09 here in Sacramento, but I'm dead serious because there's going to be a lot of traffic today for those games. And then we have Pacific going to go see St. Mary's. St. Mary's is number 23. I'm definitely putting that ball, and I don't bet money on games at all because that's not really my style. I don't even think I'm allowed to, but it's not really my thing. But definitely if I was to bet something or on someone, I'm betting St. Mary's in this matchup, of course. Then we have number 4, Gonzaga, seeing Santa Clara. Another game that should definitely go in the favor of Gonzaga. So that's what we have to look forward to this evening as far as play. Ben, of course, will give you guys an update on everything tomorrow. But before I wrap up this episode of the podcast, Alonzo Trier is someone who I wanted to discuss. So like I said, he plays for the Arizona Wildcats. He's a sophomore guard for them who is a great athlete and a great player, but we have yet to see anything from him. Now, the reason why is because he actually tested positive for performance enhancing drugs, back in September. So basically he took the drug test in September. He was a victim of a really bad accident, car accident actually, in the summer. So And then in September, when he was drug tested, the school was informed in early October so that he actually had failed it. And he was suspended, but decided that he wanted to appeal that decision, in which he did win. But the NCAA, so basically he's eligible, but they prohibited him from playing until the drug is completely out of his system. I'm not quite sure what drug it was. It's not disclosed as far as that's concerned, but it was on the banned list. So he is able to practice and travel with the team, but he has yet to actually play, and that's because as of right now, it's still in his system. So, and part of the terms and conditions as far as his eligibility is concerned, he was just tested about 2 weeks ago, and the test results came back saying that he still had traces of it in his system, and he's not going to be able to play until it's completely out of his system, like 100%. And I quote, he said that he can practice and travel with the team. He is just not allowed to resume playing in games until the substance completely leaves my body at even a trace amount. Unfortunately, I am unsure of when that time will be, but I hope it is soon. So there's really nothing he can do until it's, like I said, completely out of his system. He's 6'5". He averaged 14.8 points for the Wildcats last season. And was really set to be a really, a top scorer for the squad. Right now, Arizona, like I said, without him, they are still ranked number 14 as of now, 16-2 overall with a 5-0 record in the Pac-12. So they're doing well. Hopefully he will be able to see some tick before the end of the season. But I mean, they only have 13 games left in the regular season. So we'll see. They are also dealing with the fact that Ray Smith tore his ACL for the third time. Parker Jackson Cartwright also, he's finally back after missing 6 games due to his ankle, putting him out of commission. And then Talbot Denny is out for actually the entire season with a knee injury. So we'll see. They really could use him. Like I said, he was averaging 14.8, almost 15 points for the Wildcats last season. So it would have been really nice to see him develop as a top scorer for them as a sophomore this year. So hopefully he will be able to get back in the game. But like I said, and it was determined that he took it unknowingly, that it was, I don't know if he just didn't know that it was on the ban list. He didn't know what he was taking. I don't know how much he took. I don't know what he took. But this is just a testament of being very careful to everyone out there, especially athletes, young, old, aspiring athletes, guys that are trying to go to college, guys and girls trying to go to college on an athletic scholarship, being very careful and wise about, because I'm sure it was done under good intention by someone not on staff with Arizona at all, somebody actually in his more personal circle. I think it was someone like a family member. So it was clearly done out of the good intention, but has caused him to perhaps actually miss out on his entire sophomore season. So just keep that in mind when we decide to make certain decisions. And with that, we are going to end this episode of the podcast. Ben will be here bright and early tomorrow morning to give you guys a recap to start off your day. I'm Pauline, and you guys are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. I'll see you guys next week.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.